Hello, everyone. Well, good morning from Mexico. Good afternoon for some of you. We are very happy to have this session today. Thank you very much for attending this workshop on journal quality and editorial criteria to be indexed in one of our indexes, the Index of Certified Journals Redalyc, or the Index of Journals in Consolidation from AmeliCA. We are here, myself, Arianna Becerril García. I am the Executive Director of Redalyc. I am professor at the Autonomous University of the State of Mexico. I've been here for, 20 years. Actually, this is the 20-year anniversary of Redalyc this year. So, and here with me is Alejandra. Alejandra, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Well, currently I'm working as the editorial quality coordinator at Redalyc. And well, I don't know what else I could say.
Okay, thank you, Alejandra. So we are here, to present, first of all, to some of you who are perhaps new to Redalyc or AmeliCA services, and what are the benefits and the processes and advantages to be indexed in one of these indexes. So it is important for us to let you know that we are sometimes we are referred as an alternative platform. I mean, alternative in terms of the mainstream platforms that are more well recognized in some other regions, like the North, the global North in general. But here in Latin America, you probably know that Redalyc started in Latin America, but it is now expanding its scope beyond geographical frontiers, and we are committed to support Diamond Open Access journals, and this is the particular reason of this workshop to let other journal editors from other regions that are not familiar with the work of Redalyc and AmeliCA know that these indexes are quality indexes that are well recognized in some other regions, and that we work to have non-commercial open access, open science in general, in hands of the academic sector. So we work in a non-profit basis. Of course, we are non-commercial platforms. We are based on the Autonomous University of the State of Mexico, who is the main supporter or the main sustain of Redalyc and AmeliCA as well. And without any further introduction, I will start. This workshop is going to last 2 hours. Well, we hope like 1 hour and 30 minutes to present, and then we can also we would like to answer any questions you may have. It is very important for us to understand the situation of different journals in different regions and in different conditions, so we can support the Diamond Open Access model. So, first of all, I would like to introduce Redalyc for those who are not familiar with. I know that there are some other attendees that are journal editors of current index journals, and welcome here as well. Or perhaps some editors that are in one index, the index for in consolidation journals that want to be part of the certified index, which is more rigorous in terms of criteria. Thank you for being here. So, and I would like to introduce Redalyc. Well, this started as an academic project in 2003 because of the need of visibility and digital transition of journals published in that time. It started in Latin America, and it expanded the international scope, as I said before, in 2019. Well, I forgot to say, sorry. I hope you don't mind. We are recording this workshop just to make one version public for those who couldn't connect today. And also another logistical advice is if you have any question, please write it in the chat. We will be very happy to read it aloud and answer it. Well, thank you. Well, Redalyc started in a tradition, or within a tradition in Latin America, where open access, it is a natural way or a natural paradigm for scientific communication. So in Latin America, journals are published by universities and academic institutions and, well, academic societies. They are, and in some countries, they used to be very well supported by governments. So in this sense, various platforms started 20 years ago or so on, because of the need of those journals to have additional services, to be more competitive, to have innovation, to have visibility in an era of the emerging web. So Redalyc started as a scientific information system with some key components. One, it is the index of quality journals. So we certify the quality, but we also play the role of hosting the articles. So our main user after, well, the journal editor is the students, teachers, professors, the general public that want to read, download the articles that are published by our journals. So we are also a full text journal articles hosting. And like 1 decade ago, we started to work with services for editorial workflow and XML chats. Since we realized in that time, well, and now, of course, it is a current need for journals that are being struggled with sustainability, and we identify that many processes are being outsourced, and the cost of that outsourcing, it is sometimes, it is compromising the sustainability of a journal. So we started to develop different, technologies and tools, and I will explain it in a little bit more. We started to develop these systems for XML chats, for editorial workflow, in order to have a positive impact in the sustainability of the journal. So the costs are not very high to keep doing a journal in hands of the academic sector, which is not always easy, of course. We also provide metrics on usage, metrics on co-authorship, on internationalization. So some of them are not exactly indicators, are more like representations, cartographies, maps, because we are convinced that Diamond Open Access Publishing is also very, it has a lot of potential to contribute to the research assessment landscape, which is now co-opted for or by the impact factor metrics or citation metrics. And we are convinced that the academic journals that are published by the academic sector need to be part of that industry of prestige and some other, strategies that are determining who is who in science, and which are, promotion, hiring, and grants are based on those metrics. And we believe that academic journals need to be part of that, Diamond in particular. And we also provide different services in terms of discoverability. This is our numbers. Well, we have almost 1,600 index journals in our platform. from 31 countries, from about or published by 800 institutions almost. We index, as I said before, the full text. So we have around 1 million full text articles. And we are providing a service for the end user to download or read the articles in our platform, which represent 12 million article downloads per month. And we have those articles coming from, 1.5 million authors from almost, the worldwide, because sometimes we believe that the journals that are published in one region only provide service to authors and researchers in that region, but it's not true. So we have discovered that we mainly index Latin American journals because of the history of Redalyc, but these journals are providing a service for researchers from any other region. So this is important to highlight. And all our services are framed in a model as and the philosophy of science as a public good. So we believe in the cooperative approach that is characteristic from Latin America, where universities are in charge of publishing the journal editors and their teams are the ones in charge of the quality of the peer review processes, which is the core and the heart of a journal, and on building the community around the journal in terms of authors, researchers, readers. And in this sense, Redalyc is an infrastructure that provide added value services in different terms, as I said before, journal production tools, quality certification, enriched file format generation, so all the editorial workflow, interoperability and discoverability, metrics and statistics, and other services for authors, for countries, for institutions, and for different tools to analyze the scientific output that is being published by the journal collection. So in this sense, the architecture of services starts with the evaluation and with our quality criteria, which is the matter of our today's workshop. So we are very committed to work with journal editors for quality improvement or quality certification for those who are already consolidated. So in this sense, we have a quality criteria and a methodology for evaluation for journal assessment. And we have, basic and mandatory criteria. So it is a check in order to have a journal evaluated in a more exhaustive way. So a journal will need to pass this set of criteria with the minimum qualifications. Alejandra is going to explain in detail that the journal must not charge APCs, and it is very important for us to have proof that the journal is not commercial, that the journal is not charging, of course, authors, of course, readers, but authors. It is important that it's free for authors to publish, and also it is a requirement that the journal transit to the XML-JATS technology, either with our systems that we provide, but with any other tool that you may have to generate the XML-JATS is okay for us. We can import XML-JATS from that tools, from any other third-party tool. And the Declaration of San Francisco and many other declarations, I have to say, that are promoting that we need to go beyond journal-based metrics and impact factor metrics and so on. So it is important for us to raise awareness among the community of editors that the value of a journal, it is not measured or based on the impact factor or citation metrics or some other metrics. It is more than that. For us, a journal is really a vehicle of communication, an engine to build community around a discipline, around a topic. So it is more than that. And we, all our services are based on that philosophy. So after that, after the journal is, approves the journal assessment process, we provide a user account for the journal editors and their teams. If they need it, it is not mandatory. As I said before, you can use any other tool, of course, but we provide it because we identify that these kind of services are sometimes high or very expensive in the commercial sector. So to have an XML JATS, it's sometimes difficult and it's sometimes very costly. So in this sense, we provide a user account for our systems, particularly for the markup system, which is, by the way, we used some algorithms based on artificial intelligence to try to automate, the majority of the XML tagging, and to have from that XML and automatically generation of the PDF, HTML, EPUB versions of the articles that you publish. So the digital production becomes easier because it is all digitalized. We understand that if you want to produce a PDF, for example, with a traditional workflow, well, it is okay. Sometimes it is more handsome, the PDF that you can produce. But this is something that is also as an alternative for journals that are struggling with survival in terms of the digital production. We also provide a responsive reader, which is HTML5 based, and a mobile article reader. So this is, for example, the system. This is just a quick view of how the process of tagging is being or needs to be done in the platform. So we have a wizard that automatically detects and identifies titles, authors, keywords, paragraph sections, and the user needs to supervise that action. It is also compatible with MathML, so all the mathematical expressions, equations can be tagged at mathematical level. So it is, and this is very important because we sometimes see that in many journals we have the mathematical expressions, images, tables, grids like that as an image. So it is impossible to process that information, to replicate that information after, or it is only represented or making available for reading by humans, but it is important that that human can process that information easily. So we provide this tool that can do that at that level. And the output are this interactive reader, the PDF version, the mobile article reader, the HTML, and also EPUB. Of course, all is free to use for the journals we index. So this is one of the benefits, among others, to apply to be part of Redalyc. So we have some studies based on the contribution and the workflow efficiency, and we believe and we work every day on that to cut costs of InDesign formation or traditional formation. Because once we have the XML, which is, by the way, aided by artificial intelligence algorithms, you can have automatically all those formats. So the cost saving in terms of digital production is important. As I said before, it's not mandatory to use these tools. It is a service that you can have access if you have your journal index in Redalyc. So after or based on that output or in the output of, I mean, if you do the XML jats in other tools, you can send it to us, we import them to the system, and based on that XML jats, we also provide different tools for full text retrieval at different levels. So we have search engines, search filters, we index full text. We also have different browsing engines in terms of, well, thematic, discipline, geographic browsing. And we also develop different web pages by author, by institution, by journal, by area, and by country. So the idea is, for example, to provide information. This is the case of the National University of Colombia. So to provide information about their journals, the journals that are being published by the university, but also provide information on the scientific output of the university that is being published in journals indexed by Redalyc. And this is a very important benefit, or let's see, contribution, allow me to say, from Redalyc, because we perform an exhaustive normalization process of the metadata that is being added into our databases. Why? Because it is not, we don't have, or it is not easy to generate this kind of information grouped by, for example, the author affiliation. So each article that enters in our database, we normalize that information. We provide a unique identifier. We identify the different, well, the affiliation of the author, and these affiliations have a unique identifier. So we can process that and group the production or the scientific output by universities or by countries. So we can see, for example, the authors of a specific country, and you can have this information because everything is available online, of course. And with this, we also provide some metrics, as I said before, in order to have, well, this information for decision-making processes and well, some other things. We also have, well, this initiative, which is, the name is AmeliCA. Sometimes there's confusion or misunderstanding between these two initiatives, but AmeliCA, it is not exactly as a scientific information system. It is an initiative, a multi-institutional, well, community-driven initiative, which is supported by UNESCO and led by Redalyc and Claxo, with the aim to provide and preserve a cooperative, sustainable, non-subordinated infrastructure and model for open knowledge. So the idea is to, well, together with Redalyc, with Claxo, and with different institutions that are convinced that we should preserve the model of, well, the publishing sector in enhanced, in control, and owned by the academic. So we work together in order to have, well, different services additional from the ones that we are already offering in Redalyc and in some other infrastructures, because we believe this, that we can have, well, different technologies combined or as a roadmap to have a more organic ecosystem nowadays. So sometimes technology and the web, it is taken as a tool, or but not exactly as a new space for knowledge sharing. And I think these technologies can really impact in the sustainability of the non-commercial publishing. We perhaps all are all aware about the problems that commercial publishing are causing to, well, it is unsustainable for many institutions and governments to keep paying for subscriptions, of course, but now it is also an important crisis in terms of APCs and the inflationary well, system of the commercial publishing sector. So we believe that the academy-owned non-profit publishing it really can be the solution for our communication of science, and technologies play a very, very important role. So with this cooperative approach of science as a global public good, we intend to provide different services to impact in the costs of a journal production. So and I underline the cooperative approach because we provide the services, but the journal editors are the ones who are working on the quality, who are working on making, of course, the journal possible. But we provide some supporting services that can help in terms of visibility, discoverability, and I forgot to say, and allow me to come back to this one, I'm sorry. And some other services that are based on the quality evaluation process, based on the workflow technologies, but also to impact in terms of interoperability and visibility. So we work very hard in having the content of a journal indexed in directories. For example, we have a procedure and an agreement with DOAJ to have or to export the metadata of your articles into the DOAJ, so it can be retrieved by DOAJ engines. We also work with search engines, with Google Scholar, for example, with content aggregators, with repositories. And this is one very important service that we, and I think it's kind of having a momentum, this service of integrating Diamond open access articles into institutional repositories and thematical repositories, because this is a way to integrate the green and the diamond roots of open access in order to work together and to really potentialize the impact in terms of visibility, but also in terms of research assessment sources of information. We also provide this, layer of metrics. So you can also trace the visibility of your journal. I mean, in the time, you can see who is downloading, reading, which is the community of readers of your journal, but also you can have information on the co-authorship, on the community of authors that is being using, allow me the term, using the journal as a vehicle of communication. And we have also this layer of linked open data and other open data formats, not only linked open data, but where we are providing semantic collections, for example, by every SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. So we have this collection of journal articles, and we provide a service to retrieve that information grouped by each SDG. And we also provide different knowledge representation, for example, in SparkQL with RDF and other formats based on the XML. And you can download this information, of course, available in our platform. So, I come back to this just to start closing the first part of the webinar. So we believe this approach allows to keep journal publishing in hands of the academic non-profit sector. We believe that it allows native open access, since there is not an intermediation of any commercial company here, and also with open data. It prevents journals from charging APC. Well, this is our we hope that this will happen. Actually, we have happily success stories on the prevention of the APC business model in order to have access to these services, because some journals are charging an APC which is very, very low. And in the case of for the Diamond open access journals, and they realize that this charge is not going to be a solution for the sustainability of the journal, and they decided or opt to eliminate this charge to authors in order to have this kind of services. So we have very happy success stories on that. Well, it includes these kind of tools to generate all the output formats as I said before, and it is important that that highlight that leverages data granularity, well, to enable novel ways of discoverability and knowledge representation. I mean, all the tagging at each variable, each digit of a mathematical expression, each image or the content of a table within the article can really have this enriched XML tagging, and services can be more, well, let's say intelligent, but also can be more innovative in terms of metrics, in terms of the experience to the end user, in terms of the reading formats. I mean, so the innovation can really be part of this, because these processes allow the content to do that. And this is something that if you see some journals coming from the most well-recognized commercial publishers, they don't do that. So, I mean, this is something that the sector as a whole, either commercial or not commercial, it is like behind the technologies. It's always one step behind. And we would like to revert this situation and to take technology and innovation as a way to sustain non-commercial publishing, but also as a way to find more innovative ways for research assessment, and to eliminate some of the preconceived ideas and processes around, well, the industry of prestige. And that can really impact in having more inclusion, more equity on the access, but also on the production. And I think I will stop here. I think we have some questions here. I think we can answer some of them before we move to the next topic. Well,
or maybe not, Arianna. Maybe we can answer them by the time I start explaining a little bit about the editorial criteria.
I just allow me to answer the first one, because some of them you're not going to touch those topics. If it is related to criteria, I will let you answer that, right? Okay, thank you, Patrick. How much time is usually needed from submission to Redalyc AmeliCA to a first decision? I think Alejandra is going to answer that. If I understood correctly, XML JATS production may be added if a journal currently does not have this, but fulfills exactly. If you pass the process of evaluation and you are accepted to be indexed in Redalyc, you can have access to Marcalic and all these tools only because you are indexed in our platform. Okay, licenses, we are going to talk about licenses a little bit later. And okay, what happens when after a while a journal does not meet the quality criteria? Okay, thank you for that question, because I'm going to answer with this couple of slides about the indexing processes. So we have two indexes: the index of certified journals in Redalyc, which is a very rigorous, use a very rigorous criteria. And we have all these steps that are important to, well, this is the flow for the evaluation. So you start the submission in this moment by sending an email to that email, evaluacion@redalyc.org. And then it starts with a preliminary assessment that we want to make sure that you cover, that you meet the basic criteria, which is you are non-APC, open access journal, you have a peer review process. I mean, all the basic criteria that Alejandra is going to explain. And then we perform the evaluation process, which is the verification of different criteria with some evidences that we need to verify that you meet these criteria. And after this, internal evaluation made by the coordination of quality in Redalyc, then if the journal approves that, then it passes to a qualitative appraisal by the steering board, which gives a qualitative assessment on the journal. And if that process happens satisfactorily, then the journal is taken to a ratification process by an international evaluation board. And this is very important to highlight. So the final decision is not taken by Redalyc itself. It is a collaborative decision. So we have this international evaluation board, and they provide a qualitative appraisal as well on the evaluation of the journal. And here we have two important things. Well, the feedback reports. We are not, our philosophy on evaluating journals is not only to accept or reject journals. We would like to work on an iterative process to improve quality. So in this sense, we provide a feedback report. We don't want to be a bureaucratic a platform that intends to have the truth in its hands. No, it is not the way we work. So we provide a feedback report, either if you approve or not. So you are not exactly rejected. So you are given this information so you can tell us, well, you're wrong, you evaluate me, perhaps you don't see that, or you have to check these other things. But it is also useful for many journals in order to verify some areas of opportunity for the journal. So in this sense, you receive this feedback recommendations report if you don't approve these first processes, and then you can apply later in the time when you fix some of the issues that are, or the recommendations that are being pointed out in this report. So you apply those changes if you feel and believe it is adequate for your journal. You can do that in the next issues, and then come back to Redalyc to re-evaluate the journal. There is no a number of intents in a limitation on that. You can come here and we can do the same process every time you ask for. Well, at least we are working in this moment like this. So, well, if a journal approves that, it also receives this feedback report. Well, in terms of to make transparent the way we assess your journal, what we saw from Redalyc in your journal, and perhaps some other some recommendations that are not compromising your indexing in Redalyc, but perhaps can help to improve even more the quality of your journal. So you receive this feedback report, and then the ratification by the International Evaluation Board, and then we ask for a goodwill operational agreement signature. So this is, as it says, a goodwill agreement, just to agree that all your contents are going to be indexed in Redalyc, and well, some other things that are being included in the agreement. The agreement is available publicly in our webpage if you want to check it. And then, we start with the contents processing stage. So where we provide the XML JATS AmeliCA account, or that we ask for you to send the XML JATS from your articles, at least for 1 year of publication. And after we have 1 year of publication, so we make your journal available in Redalyc, and you receive the certificate of indexing. And this is the case of the index of certified journals. But we also realized that it was well, in all those years, all the rejected journals have a very big gap between the quality ones. And this gap, sometimes we would like to reduce that gap. And one strategy that we started is to if you cover the basic criteria for admission, we can provide, for example, an account for the workflow tools, not AmeliCA because it's a different one, but this is the AmeliCA XML system, but this is to help journals in the process of consolidation and in the process of reach international standards and have good editorial practices, to reduce the gap and to have a system that can help the journal to improve. So in a year or a couple of years can apply to be indexed in Redalyc. So we provide here in this index a more light evaluation. Only we check the basic criteria for admission. We sign the goodwill agreement. We provide this AmeliCA XML user account, and then the journal can do the XML JATS markup, and then it is indexed in the journal portal of AmeliCA. It is not indexed in Redalyc until it applies to Redalyc and passes the Redalyc. But it is important because the journals are aware of what are the areas of opportunity and the things that they need to improve in order to be, to have more quality. So, well, I think this is the last slide that I'm going to talk. And now I will let Alejandra talk about the automated process evaluation and also the criteria of for the evaluation of journals. Please, Alejandra, go ahead.
Yeah, would you allow me to share my screen, please?
Sure.
There we go. Okay. So, well, at the very beginning of the webinar, I simply said, well, my name is Alejandra. I'm the editorial quality coordinator. I'm in charge of receiving your journal submissions and assessing them, okay? And of course, both those ones submitting to Redalyc and AmeliCA. Nowadays, we are registering all your submissions in this new system, which is called Shanghai, which is aiding us to make the automated process faster, and which will provide us a faster response from the different entities that participate in your journal's evaluation. So I'll tell you a little bit about it. Sometimes we import your journal's data from the Directory of Open Access Journals or from the Web of Science, from Scopus. Some others, we register all information you provide us either by mail or by the form some of you decide to send us through the web. I mean, we have a form you can fill in online. So here in this system, we can complete all missing information in case we simply import data, or we register things such as your aims and scope, the languages you publish, or also your indexings. And after doing that, we send you a submission letter, and we expect to receive it back, signed by the director or editor-in-chief. And well, many of the journals do not know how to start that submission process. So what we've been doing lately is to receive the basic data. We need your journal's name, the full name, the official one, okay? we need its website and its electronic ISSN. Apart from that, well, maybe the name of your publishing institution and also its website. Yeah, basically those 5 data. Yeah, and well, the main email we keep, we use to keep in touch with you is this one, evaluacion@redalyc.org. Now, after evaluating your journals, there are 2 possible outcomes. Either the journal is accepted or it is subject to recommendations. So my participation here is a little bit of a further up to what Arianna has shared with you, all this information you've received, and maybe to make it clearer for everyone, okay? So that you can understand a little bit better the indexing processes. And okay, so what happens if you're accepted? We send you a report, yeah? And we request all your materials, both PDFs and XMLs. And of course, after receiving them, yeah, we inform you about the possibility of using Redalyc or AmeliCA XML system. What if you already have your own XML? We simply import them. Yeah. And okay, Arianna mentioned it is a very exhaustive evaluation process. Well, it is very demanding. What if my journal does not pass this evaluation? Okay, in that case, you will also receive a report, and we provide you with feedback. We point out areas of opportunity. At the very end, what's the ultimate goal or the ultimate end of this webinar? We invite you to submit your journals if you haven't done it yet, or to let you know about all those criteria we evaluate so that you can start working on them, or so that you can incorporate them into your editorial practices. And well, we expect to receive some advances, yeah, some improvements, notifications about what you've been changing so that we can corroborate them on your sites. And of course, ideally, you should be sending that information within 6 months, but some journals do it later. So in that case, we invite them to submit their journal. Some editors do it later, so we invite them to submit their journals once again for a reassessment. Okay, so to sum up, yeah, after you have sent a 1-year publication in the XML format, those issues are imported. You will find them online. You receive a notification with an access with a link to your microsite, yeah, and we send you a certificate of indexing, and just then you are allowed to inform everybody through your site, through different social media, that you've already well, fulfilled this goal and that you have been just indexed. Now, before I start talking about the editorial criteria, there is something I'd like you to do. Yeah, I'll be displaying some screenshots taken from different journals so that you can notice what sections we search, we analyze, yeah, how we do it, and just in case you haven't included some of those policies or mandatory information that we evaluate, well, take notes, yeah, or think about where exactly you will have them on your websites, yeah. And of course, fortunately, this is all being recorded later on. You'll be able to see this recording once again and maybe reconsider what else can be done so that you can improve your editorial practices. Okay, always thinking that these are recommendations. Not all journals work the same way. Not all of them have the same ideology. Not everything is plausible because it all depends maybe on sponsoring. Maybe it all depends on agreements inside the editorial teams. Okay. So Arianna mentioned before, there are some basic criteria for admission. Those are in Redalyc, and well, although we have some also basic criteria for admission in AmeliCA, there are less than in Redalyc. Okay, I'll talk about them in a while. There are 9 more, yeah, that are not granted a grade, let's say, yeah, but they are important to reach a decision, to get to a decision, okay, and those are called qualitative criteria. And there are 43 more that are highly valued and, of course, of paramount importance in your editorial practices, but not having all these 59 criteria does not necessarily mean your journal is going to be rejected. Okay, that's important to highlight because, well, many people think that there are too many and that if you don't pass all these, well, it's equivalent to saying that your journal is going to be rejected. Not at all. And okay, let's start talking about the basic criteria for admission. To begin with, we have the immediate open access policy, yeah, and the no article processing charges, what many of us know as APCs. And usually we find these two policies together along with the license. Okay, some of you were already asking about the license, or someone was asking about it. I'll talk about that. Yeah, and well, what exactly? Please, this is just an invitation. Don't simply include that your journal attaches to open access because authors do not know what that is. Okay, so explain. Okay, so users are allowed to read, to download, copy, distribute, print all these full text articles, yeah, without being charged. Yeah. Now, what about the no APC policy? Please explain what that is. Yeah. Tell your authors that they are not going to pay anything for having their articles revised, yeah, or published. So nothing of what the process implies should be charged. That's precisely what the Diamond Open Access consists of. Okay. Now, one more criterion is indicating the publishing institution. So, for example, in this journal, it is the Defense and Serbian Armed Forces. So we corroborate, you are linking us to the publishing institution's website. Something essential, yeah, a must in every single scientific journal is stating what kind of review, peer review process you are working with. So in many cases, it's a double-blind peer review process, but nowadays, some journals are opting to the open peer review process, which is highly recommendable by the open science ideology. We check the journal's lifespan. What does that mean? Does it have a 1-year publication at least? So, for instance, in this case, maybe the size is not the most appropriate one, but you see this journal's current issue corresponds to 2022, but it started publishing in 2019. Okay, so yes, definitely it has more than a 1-year publishing online. We also corroborate it is publishing on time. What does that mean? If it is a 4-monthly publication, we need to identify it is publishing at the beginning of each of its periods, which should be, let's say, if it's a 4-monthly, it should be in January, in May, and what is it, September? Yeah, I think. Let's move on. And the last basic criterion for admission is displaying the most important general information about your journal on your homepage. What am I talking about? Okay, the complete name, your electronic ISSN, the publishing institution, city, country, and email. Not everybody knows how to serve on a journal's website. So at times, for common users, it is not that easy to identify who they should contact, okay? That's the reason we invite you to include this information on the homepage. Let's now talk about the qualitative criteria. So I was telling you, these all different criteria do not receive, let's say, a grade. It's not like, okay, great, you have all this, and now you're accepted. No. These are, let's say, a plus. I'm talking, just to be more specific, about the percentage of scholarly content you are including in each issue. Ideally, it should be at least the 75%. What happens if you have less than that? Oh, well, nothing. It's not equivalent to failing the evaluation, okay? We are simply considering how concerned you are about sharing scientific content, all those outcomes that are based on research, okay? And that are attached to these displays that are conventionally known as scientific articles. What next? We also check out the exogeneity in publishing. What does that mean? Who are participating or collaborating in your publications? Is it just people from the same university, from the same publishing institution? It should be people from all over the world, okay? So are you interested in receiving submissions from other institutions from the same country or from other countries? That's what we are paying attention to. We pay attention to how many articles you are publishing annually, okay? So some journals get a little bit worried because maybe they are publishing just a few articles a year. So the ideal number, it should be between 16 and 25 articles a year if we are talking about social sciences journals, okay? But if your journal focuses on another area, okay, we take into consideration some other factors, such as your scope, your regional scope, okay, and the subject you focus on. So at times, demanding such a number from the natural and exact sciences is not that possible. It is not possible. we also look for how many articles you are publishing issue after issue. Yeah, we concentrate on the last 3 issues, and if it is a if we find a very inconsistent number of articles, yeah, well, it calls our attention. What's going on there? What's not working inside your editorial workflow? For example, what if we find the current issue is displaying 17 articles, but the previous one has just 4? So what happened there? Yeah. So I'm giving you there an example. Well, ideally, once again, there should be maybe 8 scientific articles in each of these 3 last issues. Okay, but it mustn't be considered like, oh, that's the acceptable number. No, it varies. It all depends on each journal. Now, another criterion, qualitative criterion, the reading formats. Yeah, are you willing to aid your readers to have a more interactive experience or easy way of reading text? Or are you still reluctant to, move towards the digital reading that allows an easy experience, okay, a more flexible one? So many journals are still stuck on providing the PDF as the only possibility, the only reading possibility. But there are many other formats, rich formats that allow a more flexible way of letting your users, your readers know your articles. So here you see an example that displays that there is not only the PDF, there are others such as the EPUB, the HTML, and the XML. Now, what's that, the XML? Some journals include it as a format, and they are actually sharing an HTML. Yeah, an XML is a machine-readable format, so it can be read by any common reader, yeah, or user. This is what an XML looks like. So as you can see, if we want to read this article, we won't be able to understand much of it. Okay. We also examine your indexing, and we pay attention to the fact if you all identify or differentiate those systems that assess your editorial practices, such as Latindex or the Directory of Open Access Journals or Redalyc. Yeah, and if you differentiate them from those ones that are simply including your contents in their repositories, or if you identify which of them are simply research engines. Now, one more is consists of, having an independent digital platform. Arianna mentioned before, what if you don't have one? Well, Redalyc provides you with hosting in case you need it. So some journals do not have their own website, and they display their contents inside the publishing institution's website, but they are not that easy to find. So, of course, by having your own microsite, for example, in Redalyc, that becomes a way of helping, again, your readers to find all your contents faster and more easily. And finally, there are 2 criteria that are closely related: the percentage of scientific content and this other one that is simply called or entitled scientific content. What exactly do we pay attention to? So we see your table of contents, And we realize there are different sections, but some of them do not include scientific outcomes. So for example, here we see Face Science guest leader. We opened the article and we find something like this, okay? We immediately realize this is not something based on research. It does not attach to the conventionally known scientific format, okay? Where we see, you know, maybe let's start with the abstract and keywords, okay? And then we see the introduction and, well, at the very end, the references, okay? But we continue paying attention to the rest of the materials of the articles there, and we see that the next one is Face Science research articles, okay? So in that case, we continue checking those and we find this, okay? So what exactly do we assess? We pay attention to this ones, okay? And the other ones are not considered a result of scientific investigation. Now, let's talk about the highly valued quantitative criteria. In this case, we determine if you comply with, well, the different 43 I mentioned, okay, before, or do not comply with them, or you do it but partially, okay? And we register that. If you do it partially, well, you receive some feedback, okay, letting you know what's something you can work on. There's different subcategories. The first one is related to editorial practices, and you see there, well, the exogeneity of reviewers. What does that mean? Please include whether you are inviting external reviewers. What does that mean? Well, scholars from different institutions, yeah, either from the same country or other countries. Also, please state if you simply accept or you exclusively accept original and unpublished issues. Some journals are already accepting preprints. Where exactly is that information about what preprints is pointed out? Yeah, where can they send those preprints? Explain it. Yeah? We pay attention to your editorial board. Do members belong to different institutions, or are they all part of the same publishing institution? What's what we recommend? Well, they should belong to different institutions. 70% of the editorial team should be from different institutions. Here you see an example. Editors are from Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Germany, Estonia. Please specify how much time it takes you, yeah, to go through the whole evaluation process of articles, yeah, from the very moment you receive the article till it is published. So some journals forget about mention this, and they simply indicate, well, the time you editors give reviewers to read those papers and get their opinion, okay, or a final result. But it is important to state how long it takes from the very beginning till the end. And well, many journals may state that it implies more or less 6 months, but later on we realize that it's not precisely that. So let's, you know, include real information. I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment. One more criterion. Please also include the peer review online evaluation form. Reviewers need to guide before, deciding to help you out. It's not enough just to simply indicate, okay, please pay attention to the structure if it is attached to our subject and if it is well supported by, different sources. And what do we invite you to do? Well, to include this online form in your website, and of course, make it visible, okay? So that reviewers and authors can see what articles are what you or reviewers are going to assess on these articles, okay? It is important to point out that this evaluation form shouldn't be based on a quantitative, appraisal. It should allow reviewers to give some feedback as well, to provide, again, a qualitative appraisal. Well, now, talking about this criterion will make clearer what I was mentioning before about the time for assessment. So we take a look at your articles and look for the reception date, the revision date, the acceptance date, and in some cases, the publication date. And sometimes we realize that you received the article in 2021, but you didn't publish it until 1 year or more later. So is that consistent with what you stated before within your policies about not spending more than 6 months, processing these articles? It is not, right? Okay, so ideally, these dates should be on the first page of each article. Why? Because later on, if you decide to use Redalyc to tag your articles, you are asked for this information at the very beginning. Okay, well, that's one of the reasons. And then we also pay attention to the inclusion of bibliometric and scientometric indicators, such as, well, whether you are including how many submissions you received, accepted or rejected, your acceptance rate and your rejection rate. One more subcategory, the periodicity. Are you specifying the months each period covers? So some journals included on the corresponding section, the one referring to periodicity, some others also included in the table of contents. But also, please don't forget about including the publication date. That exact date, well, you uploaded or you simply displayed your contents of each issue. Now, talking about licensing, I think the question was, well, what licenses are acceptable? We recommend including the Creative Commons licenses, okay? But what exactly is needed? Well, not only the kind of license you opt to, please specify what kind of rights are authors granting, okay? What's allowed? So here above, you see the specifications. Iconography helps. So you also see it there, right? And also explain, add the link to the Creative Commons website. because that's a way, you know, to corroborate what you are actually telling maybe in few words. Now, something we do at Redalyc is checking you're including that license within the article's metadata. So we choose some articles, some PDFs at random, and we identify if you've included any of the information related to the license. We also look for the sponsors. Many journals take for granted that just by saying they are adhered to the open access model is more than enough, and it is not. We need to know what institutions are supporting your editorial practices, your who's helping you economically, okay? Two more, including the copyright and the self-archiving policy. So please let authors know if they are enabled to publish their articles in other institutional repositories or personal web pages after being published by your journal, and giving credit to it, of course. Now, one more subcategory, the editorial management. Don't forget to include, please, the name of your personal contact. The more specific aims and scopes you have, the better. I chose this one as a sample. So many times journals or editors forget about indicating the target audience. So here we see aims to connect researchers interested in these themes in Switzerland. Okay, so maybe it's still a little bit broad, not as specific as we would like, but it's been mentioned. Now, what about the subject? This one is very specific. So dedicated to visual arts, architecture, and cultural heritage in the Middle East and North Africa. So I insist, the more specific it is, the better. Please consider including your roles and responsibilities, and well, here maybe it is too tiny. I'm displaying an example. The editorial coordinator is in charge of the communication with the advisory board and the evaluators proposed. What about other editors? Oh, they are in charge of the communication with authors, and there we see their other responsibilities. We also identify essential information in each bibliographic letterhead. What mainly? Well, of course, the journal's name. Some journals decide to include the abbreviated name, fine. The volume and the issue. Some journals simply include just the volume or the issue, okay, no problem. The year is a must. Ideally, the ISSN, okay, the electronic one. Some others include, for example, the pages or the months covering the publication period. Some others, the digital identification, the digital object identifier. Okay, perfect. What about this insistence on the information related to the editorial board or team? Well, this is all related to the information Arianna was mentioning before, the one you see on the indicators, something that Redalyc offers, to, let's say, disseminate the impact your journal is having. So one of the things that also is very important is to include the institutional affiliation of those members of your editorial team. Yeah, and we invite you not to use acronyms. Yeah, include the full names and the countries. What about the tables of contents? Considering English is becoming very important everywhere as language, yeah, we invite you, if you are not publishing in English, to include the titles of the articles in 2 languages, okay? So let's say you are publishing in French. Well, why not including the title in English as well? Information about the authors. We look for full names, yeah, the institutional affiliation, including, of course, the country, yeah. Some journals include just the city, and we need to look for the country if we don't know the city. So, well, once again, I invite you to include full names and countries. Of course, we also pay attention to the fact if you are including the corresponding author's email, okay? And well, of course, nowadays, ORCIDs are being included in all articles, but well, you cannot expect authors to send the ORCID if you do not request it. So please include it in your author guidelines, yeah, as a requirement. Once again, I'll talk about the indexings. Yeah, we check all your indexing logos or links actually redirect us to the, not exclusively the indexing webpage, but to the journal. Okay, here you see an example of a journal that well includes the directory open access journals index. Okay, so we need to corroborate that that journal was or is indexed there. Okay, specify the citation style or include examples. Send authors to a guide so that well later on you can avoid so many difficulties while revising the bibliography. Something very recommendable is including the abstract in at least 2 languages, also the keywords, and also including guidelines for authors in all those languages that your journal is stating. So for instance, this one indicates that publishes articles in Portuguese, English, Spanish, and French. So we look for those guidelines in those different languages. And not all journals include them. Why? Because it implies a manual, process. You need to include them in the open journal system. Please specify what code of ethics you are respecting. And it is not always the COPE guidelines. It is sometimes an institutional code. Just explain it, give information about it. Also, specify what your, similarity identification process is. I mean, what do you do to avoid plagiarism? Do you use a specific software? Point out what software it is. Yeah, the example you see here includes many softwares. And something we promote is considering paying this extra service to preserve your archives. Yeah, so it's there are options. Here you see blocks. There is another one that is called Portico, okay? Intended to, have your backup, okay? But a guaranteed backup. Now, the last subcategory is about the technology leverage. So one more criterion is, are you keeping in touch with authors through the open journal system? Yeah. And one more is, are you sharing a link to the OAI metadata harvesting protocol? Do you have it? Yeah. How do we check it if we don't find a link in your website? We open, once again, some of your articles, we choose them at random, and we look for this information. Meta tags, okay? So we have to find basic information about the article, such as the title, the language, the ISSN, what else can we see there? So we identifying by this information, meta name equals easy. We corroborate your search engine is working properly. Also, if we can download each article individually, some journals are still publishing full issues. That's not what many users want. They want one single article. Okay, and we also look for your whole collection. Okay, is it on the same web page? Is it on one single section? We see if you have, or if you have already included a digital object identifier to each article. Yeah, and we corroborate it, redirect us to the article through Crossref. Okay, which is an option. I mean, later on, I'm sure there will be other options that not necessarily imply payment. And right in that section, we also notice if you are including statistics, yeah, how consulted each article is. We also notice if your website facilitates readers finding the information. What if it implies clicking more than 3 times just to get access to the whole text? It is too much, okay? So the less clicks, the better. Here you see an example. We are on the homepage and we have immediate access to the article. An article that has to do with disseminating the information in different research engines, such as Google Scholar, or reference managers such as Mendeley, or networks concerned about, joining repositories such as La Referencia or OpenAI. And finally, are you interested in knowing what your readers think? I mean, how do you keep communication with them? Are you including social media links so that you can interact with users? Well, we corroborate that, okay? So it's not enough just seeing the Facebook icon there. We open it and we look for the journal's Facebook page, yeah, not the publishing institution Facebook page. And it can be Twitter, it can be so many others. Okay, so at the very end, what are we really interested in? Well, inviting you to consider all these options, okay? And not, making you feel overwhelmed with so much information. So decide what can be useful, what can benefit your journal. And practically, that's what I have to say. Yeah, we are fully committed towards preserving and disseminating knowledge as a common good by fostering international editorial quality standards here at Redalyc AmeliCA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alejandra. I think we almost addressed all the questions, except from one, I think that perhaps regarding the time process. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I skipped that information. Well, it takes about 6 months, the whole process, if you submit your journal to Redalyc. Okay, it may imply a longer wait if your journal is identified as subject to recommendations. Yeah, but well, in the case of AmeliCA, it is a very brief period. I mean, we don't spend so much time because we simply identify less basic criteria for admission, such as open access, no APC, peer review processes, and well, how willing you are to transit to the digital publication. So the process in AmeliCA is shorter, and you receive a response in maybe a couple of weeks.
Yes, well, the idea is that the process is based or is performed on a quarterly basis. So we work, for example, if you send your submission in the first quarter of the year, then we do the evaluation, and then we need to take that evaluation to the International Evaluation Board, and then we have to give them a month, approximately a month, to answer and to give their qualitative assessment. And then all the processes about indexing and, well, providing you the user accounts and everything, it takes, well, the total time we expect to have it in a 6 months maximum from the application to having your journal indexed in Redalyc. We are a little bit behind because of the pandemic, well, really impacted in this area. But we have now, well, this new system that we believe it will make the process more efficient. And we also have the excellent commitment of Alejandra and her team to do this. So, so this is important because some other databases, they don't really have, or they don't stick to a time, to compromise a time to giving a response, but this is not our case. I don't know if there is any more questions. Please feel free to raise your hand. I can open the microphone if you want to make it aloud, or to write any other question. In the meanwhile, I just want to let you know that you will receive an certificate of attendance for this webinar to your emails that you used for registering. And this video will be publicly available in the YouTube channel of Redalyc, so you can have a look or share it with some other colleagues. Okay, I don't think there is no more questions. Alejandra, do you want to close your participation with any comment? Or you're muted.
Okay, I know that there may be lots of questions because that's what frequently happens, but we have so much information that we can hardly choose what question to ask. So I invite you to keep in touch with us. I mean, you can send us an email asking us whatever you are concerned about. I see someone raise his hand.
Yes, Fernando, you can now speak. You are unmuted. Well, I allow you to unmute your microphone. Please do it. I think we cannot hear you, Fernando. It seems you open your microphone, but we can't hear you. Okay, now he's writing. Okay.
Yeah. Having some problems with his microphone.
Yeah, if you want to write your question, just add it in the same window. Something, yeah, I just want to make one clarification about the process. Well, sometimes when you see it as a whole, perhaps it's a little bit overwhelming because it is a lot of criteria. But the thing is that, as Alejandra rightly pointed out, is that you don't need to comply with all the criteria. Some of them are highly value criteria. And the idea is that, well, it is desirable that you have it, but it doesn't impact in the evaluation result directly. But, well, the idea to have this exhaustive evaluation and this amount of criteria is that you can have a better look at the quality of your journal in detail. So the process, it is really time consuming for us, but we really believe we need to invest in this kind of exercises as an iterative process, as a way to provide feedback. And also from us, it's very important because we learn every day from that evaluation process and the different circumstances and different contexts that you are facing. So it is also a learning exercise for us. So then you feel free to apply. I think we all win from this exercise, and don't be afraid of doing that. Okay, Fernando. Okay, I think we have some other questions. Oh, let me see. Okay, if we can send the presentation. Yes, of course, Fernando, we will share the presentation and the link to the video for you to have it as well. And we have 2 more questions from Patrick. Well, we applied our journal 2 years ago, and we completely understood that COVID pandemic affected the evaluation. I was just wondering if we should apply. Okay, yes, we are a little bit behind with the applications during the period of the pandemic. It was really, well, we were struggling on that period with many rotation of our personal and team members. But well, I don't think so. But Alejandra, could you please answer that?
Yes, Patrick, please be so kind to send your data to evaluacion@redalyc.org. Yeah, and we'll track your submission. So, well, maybe it's already been registered in our system, and we are simply waiting for a response from the board. And, well, we can tell you.
Yes, we are doing this by batches, as I said before, and we have now a very big batch in process, trying to get up with the delay of the pandemic. So perhaps your journal is about to be ready with a response. So, and thank you for your understanding and for your patience in that sense. Okay, is there any other question? I think so. Oh, no. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, thank you very much. We really want you to have more communications with all of you. And if you are sending a journal, we will be very happy to work with you closely. So we invite you to do that. And you will have, well, more news on what we are doing, and you will receive your certificate in the following days. Thank you so much.
Thank you.